Hi lovelies, welcome back to Elevation with Palesa. I hope you guys are good. I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday. It's nice and beautiful outside. It's nice and sunny. Hey, January is very hot, eh? But then we're not complaining. Personally, I prefer summer over winter because I'll be shivering right now. But anyway, guys, I hope your January is going well, hey? I hope you started the year off on a good note. I hope that this year is coming with the heat, it's coming with positive vibes, it's coming with, just good energy. So before we start off with what the topic is today, I just want to burn some incense, just to bring some positive, good vibes into the space as we speak about today's topic. I like burning some incense just to ground myself, just to bring in, good vibes, just to bring in the calmness, the peace, and the harmony. So yes, guys, if you'd like to ground yourself more, always make sure that you purchase incense. There's different kind of flavors, there's different kinds of incense sticks that you can get. There's sage, there's go away evil, there's lavender, there's different kinds of scents, flavors that you can get from any shops that deal with these kind of things. So whatever mood that you'd like to bring in your space, always purchase that. So anyway, guys, today's topic is called gaslighting. Gaslighting. So this topic is a very heavy topic for most people. It's also heavy for me personally because I've been a victim of gaslighting throughout my life. So I saw the need to actually speak about it. So those that don't know what gaslighting is basically a manipulative tactic or behavior that's used by narcissistic people or abusers to create things like self-doubt, to create low self-esteem, towards the victim, so that the victim can remain codependent on them and the victim can remain invisible and the victim can basically not see themselves for who they are, but see themselves for who the abuser actually makes the victim to be. So whenever I speak about gaslighting, it actually triggers me a bit, but triggers me in a sense that, not that I haven't dealt with it, but it triggers me because it just reminds me of how imprisoning it is to be found in a situation whereby you're actually gaslit. It's very, it keeps you stuck. It keeps you in a cycle, a vicious cycle of doubting yourself, of not knowing who you are, of always depending on the abuser to tell you who you are. It's like a continuous cycle that's dark. So I decided to speak about this topic, just lay it on the table, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are currently dealing with people that gaslight you in your lives, whether it's through family, through friends, through partners, through workers, through employees, through different people that you come across, even strangers, someone that you can meet today and they can decide to gaslight you. So I'm just here to speak about it, Gaslighting is actually a behavior that stems from a various amount of things. It starts from childhood. So it comes from situations like when someone lacks emotional stability when they were a child. So let's say someone was raised in a family whereby there was no emotional stability, emotional security that was provided towards the child. They end up becoming narcissists when they are adults. Number two, it comes from situations whereby the child basically lacks security, in terms of they don't feel like they have parents to rely on. As children, they always feel like they have to rely on themselves. They always feel like they have to be independent. They always feel like they always have to be the problem solvers towards them and also at home. So this comes from the lack of security at home. This then creates narcissists in the future, meaning as they become adults, they become narcissists and they end up what? Gaslighting. So another reason is gaslighting comes from childhood, whereby the child was not given a platform to be able to express themselves. So every time they try to express themselves, the family would always close that off for them. So to them, they had a default of always seeming like no one is there to hear what they have to say. So they carried that throughout their lives. And then now they are actually portraying it in their adulthood. which then sometimes they actually not aware of him gaslighting other people, because it's now a default. It's something that's in the subconscious mind. It happens automatically because it's now interwoven in who they are. So they are not aware that they're gaslighting because of the lack of an expressive platform back in their childhood. So that's when they actually build up into being narcissists that gaslight, as adults. Another reason is lack of conflict resolution. So in a home, children that are raised in a home whereby conflict resolution was taught, meaning if there's an argument that happens at home, parents sit down with the children. If the parent is the one that wronged the child, the parent would be able to apologize to the child that, look, my love, I'm sorry because of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if the child is wrong, the parent would then educate the child to apologize, take responsibility for the wrong things that they did. Then the child would be able to do what? To apologize when they did wrong at home. And then after apologizing, everything is smooth, everything is good to go, the family is happy. So in families whereby that was not taught, whereby if there's arguments and fights, people just lash out with anger, people just lash out with harsh words, people just lash out with swearing or even physical violence, and then after that physical violence happens, it's like one then just leaves the house, then it's like silent treatment, for weeks, or silent treatment for days, or silent treatment for months. That's basically lack of conflict resolution. So people that lack conflict resolution, they then have a tendency of actually being gaslighters, as adults, because they lack that conflict resolution tool, which will then avoid them from being narcissists. So guys, there are other various reasons which cause gaslighting in adults. But the ones that I mentioned is basically one of the few that causes adults to have gaslighting problems and gaslighting behaviors. So now we come down to, how do you know as an individual that you're actually being gaslit without being aware? Because some people, they don't know that they're being gaslit. They just feel that no, something is wrong, but they're not aware what it is. So I'm here to clarify that for you. So how do you identify that you are being gaslit? By family members, by friends, by your intimate partners, by your business partners, by your co-workers, by your boss, by strangers, just by people that you come across on a daily basis. So number one, you ask yourself, every time you're trying to make a point across, are you heard? Are you given the platform to be heard, to voice yourself? Or are you not? Are you always being shut down? Are you always being suppressed? Number two, are you always validated or invalidated for what you have to contribute to whatever conversation, to whatever solution? Number three, for being your authentic self. So using your own voice, your own communicative style, your own voice positioning, your own way of making a point across. Is that problematic to the people around you, or is it not problematic to the people around you? Do they allow you to be your authentic self at all times? You need to ask yourself that question. Number four, are you always being made to feel rational or irrational for standing up for yourself? So let's say, for example, you're put in an uncomfortable position whereby someone says something to you. So for example, something like, yo, dude, why are you so fat? Like, did you gain weight or what? And you're like, no, dude, you don't say that to me. That's very uncomfortable, And then the person then decides to apologize, or the person decides to actually make you feel irrational for standing up for yourself. Like, nah, stop being sensitive, man, So that is gaslighting. So are you constantly finding yourself in those situations whereby you're always being made to feel irrational for standing up for yourself? Or are you made rational for standing up for yourself? Meaning, people step back when you stand up for yourself and they're actually aware that they're stepping over, your boundaries, and they apologize and take accountability for it. So all these questions that I asked you, you need to ask yourself, are you actually on the positive side or on the negative side, of being gaslighted by these abusers, by these narcissistic people. So if you always find yourself in a position whereby most of the answers are yes, you're being gaslit, then there are solutions in which you can get yourself out of those situations. But if you find yourself that in most situations you're not, then that means you're doing great. And I'm so proud of you that you are able to fight against the behaviors that are sent by narcissists, because being gaslit, it's not nice. It's not a nice feeling. I myself have experience with being gaslit, but I've dealt with it, and I definitely know how to stand up for myself towards it. Hence, I wanted to share it with you guys, so that we can elevate and grow together. We need to be able to be comfortable in our authentic selves. We need to be able to voice ourselves. That's why we are here in this world, on earth, to be able to be ourselves. There's no one else like you, and there's no one else that will stand up for you like yourself. So lovelies, I'm going to give you solutions on how to deal with being gaslit. So the first thing that you do when you're being gaslit is always bring it to the surface. It's definitely going to be uncomfortable at the beginning because you're doing something that you're not used to. You're so used to being suppressed. You're so used to being cut off. You're so used to not being heard that it's going to be uncomfortable. So you need to bring it to the surface. If someone gaslights you, say, dude, look, what you're saying is making me feel uncomfortable. And I prefer that we don't speak about it, and I prefer that you apologize. So say that. Or you can say, look, I feel like for the longest time, I haven't been heard in our relationship or in our connection. And I'd like us to actually look into the situation because I feel like it's always your voice over mine, So you always need to bring it to the surface so that the other person is aware that this is how you're feeling. Because also we need to understand that human beings are not detectives. So as I said, some people are not aware that they are gaslighting you because it's a subconscious behavior that it's a default to them. They gained it when they were in childhood, and now they're adults and they're not aware that it's something that they carry with them. So you need to bring it to the surface so that they're aware this is how they're making you feel. So most of the time, whenever you bring this on the surface towards narcissists, they're definitely going to give you backlash. So they're not going to be comfortable that they can't control you anymore. They won't be comfortable that now you're able to stand up for yourself anymore. So they're going to give you backlash. So backlash meaning they're going to fight against you trying to stand up for yourself, in a sense that, let's say you do voice yourself out and say, dude, look, I feel like I'm not heard in this connection, in this relationship. Can you please look into it and change that? The abuser or narcissist will be like, why are you being so emotional? And what are you talking about? I've always given you the platform, to voice yourself out. Meanwhile, that's not true. But what are they doing? They're giving you backlash, So what you need to do is you need to consistently and continuously do it up until they get it. And you'll see, like, over time, it'll change. Hopefully it'll change because some people, they don't want to change. That's the unfortunate part. But what I realized is the more you do it, time is what I don't want to put like a time limit to it, that do it for a month, do it for 2 months, do it for 3 months. No, because people are not the same. People adapt differently. People adapt to changes, and people take time to change at different paces. So you will have to read the situation yourself, that every time when I actually bring it to the surface, is it changing? Is it not changing? How long do I need to keep doing it? So make sure that you bring it to the surface. Secondly, what you need to do is you need to read the environment. So if you feel comfortable and you feel that, okay, this person is making me really angry, really uncomfortable, really pissing me off, what you need to do is, if you feel like you're about to engage in violence or engage in saying something that you're going to regret, always remove yourself from the situation. Walk out, go for a walk, go to your room, grab your earphones, listen to music, your favorite track, or watch a video that's going to uplift your mood. Go out of the yard, go meet up with a friend, that will help you calm you down, venting to them. Just remove yourself from the situation, because what happens is whenever you are uncomfortable or angry or pissed off in a situation, your body wants to engage in those heightened emotions, and most of the time you end up doing something that you will later regret, which is what we don't want, right, guys? So please Don't engage in those heightened emotions. Make sure you remove yourself from that situation up until you are calm. Once you're calm, you'll be able to come back. And then when you come back, you need to make sure that you voice yourself out, which is going back to the first solution. Voice yourself out, how you felt, how it made you feel, why you decided to walk away because of 1, 2, 3. You were angry, you were pissed, and you saw fit to walk away. And then tell the person that this is how it made me feel. Always voice it out. And you'll see it'll actually make a difference. Thirdly, the third solution is whenever you're having a conversation or dialogue with someone and they cut you off or they suppress you, go back and cut that person off again. Okay, obviously not in a rude way. So for example, this let me try and make up a conversation. Like, the other day I feel like I was used, because of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the other person says, okay, I don't understand what you're saying because we all do this, in the house. And then you're like, no, but then the person's like, no, but then they cut you. So when they cut you, go back and say, excuse me, I wasn't done making my point. I wasn't done speaking. You just cut me. You got into my mouth and you tried to finish the sentence for me, or you tried to continue your sentence. This is a dialogue. A dialogue is between two people. Every time you're being cut or suppressed, cut the person back. But don't cut them in a sense that it's rude. Cut them in a sense that you'll be able to pick up where you left off with whatever sentence that you wanted to make. Because if you continuously allow people to cut you, that means you will never get your point across, and they'll be comfortable with gaslighting you all the time. They'll be comfortable with always getting in your mouth and trying to cut you, off from making your point, because that's what narcissists want. They always want their point to be heard over the victim's point. So always cut the person back off. Another solution is, if the person invalidates your authentic self, how you communicate, how you make your point across, what you have to say, what you can do is you can either give the person silent treatment, because silent treatment meaning you don't have to respond. So if the person tries and attacks you and attacks who you are, you can always give them silent treatment. People sometimes actually look down upon that. No response is still a response, guys. Trust me. If someone says something to piss you off, let's say you're happy, having a happy day. Ooh, today is Friday, it's sunny, I'm going to have an amazing day. And then the narcissist comes out of nowhere with their bad vibes, They come and they want to say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That comes with negative energy. You can choose not to respond to them because you already know that this is their tactic, their manipulative tactic, to keep you stuck, to keep you codependent, and to keep you invisible. So you can decide not to engage in whatever tactic that they're sending towards you. That's another solution. And then another thing that you can do is, if they keep invalidating your authentic self, who you are, or if they keep trying to attack you for actually trying to reverse being gaslit by them, because as I mentioned that you're always going to get backlash for trying to reverse that, from narcissists, because they're so used to having control over the situation, and you not having control over the situation. What you can do is you can bring it up to the surface and say, look, dude, for the longest time, I've been trying to come up with solutions to actually voice myself out, to make the situation fair, because I can clearly see that it's imbalanced, So, Bona Chomi, it's unfortunate that you can't see how authentic I am. And I know that I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful the way I am. And I know that I've got a voice that my higher power actually gave to me to be able to use in this world. And if I'm going to be associated with you, I know I won't be able to voice myself out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exclude myself from your life and exclude my energy to being given to you. And I'm actually going to give it to people that accept me for who I am, to people that want to hear what I have to say, to people that accept my authentic self. And then don't actually dislike or hate that person, for not accepting who you are. But tell them that it's unfortunate that you can't see how beautiful I am, so that they are aware that you are very comfortable in who you are, you're confident in who you are, and you're not going to stay in this vicious, dark cycle of being gaslit by them. Because what's going to happen is it's a build up. It's a build up. Being gaslit for years ends up becoming, I mean, a default in your identity. And then you start struggling, to identify yourself in relationships, because sometimes you find yourself that you're invisible in relationships. Sometimes you find yourself attracting narcissists, through friends, whether it's friendships, whether it's intimate partners, whether it's bosses, whether it's business partners, and so forth. So it becomes this vicious, dark cycle. So you always need to make sure that you break out of it. Anyway, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time, guys. Please take care of yourselves, and I hope you like this video. Please share, like, subscribe. Bye.